Hi, I'm Brent Johnson, and today I'm standing in the organ loft of the Meyerson Symphony Center in Dallas, Texas. With me is Bradley Welch. Bradley, you're the curator of organ here. Is that the title? The organ
Yes, the
curator?
resident organist of the Dallas Symphony and curator of the Lay Family Concert Organ.
Which is right here in front of us. This is a
That's right.
1991 Fisk. Actually, 93 was when it was completed.
That's correct.
The hall was finished in 91, and so we got a picture of this facade first, and we had to wait a couple of years
Yes,
to hear this
yes.
wonderful instrument. How many ranks do we have? Do you know off the top of your head?
It's a total of 84 ranks.
Okay.
And spread out over 6 divisions in a very interesting way.
Well, tell us what the divisions are. We have four manuals and pedals.
So we have bottom manual in the French style is the Resonance and also the Great division, which is kind of the Germanic Hauptwerk.
The main body of the organ.
Exactly.
But go back. What do you mean by the resonance? What is
Resonance. So Fisk took this idea of taking large-scale pedal stops and extending them up above the middle G into the manual range so that we would have this strong French Romantic backbone of the instrument that's especially useful for that literature, in the solo literature for the organ, as well as for really large-scale symphonic sounds.
So we have pedal stops that can be used at a keyboard scale,
Exactly.
and suddenly they're much bigger and louder. Good. So up
Exactly.
from there, what's the next manual?
So the next manual is the Positif division.
and I should ask, how are the stops laid out? You have the great. And
Yes, the
resonance.
great. So the Resonance division is right
All of
here,
those, okay.
and then the great is here.
Okay.
Then the Positif
manual
is
up is there.
is all there. And then Swell is the third manual, and the top manual is both the tuba division as well as the resonance. So the
okay.
resonance can be played on the top manual
I see.
and separated out from the great, which could remain on the bottom manual.
I see. So you can use it just up there.
Exactly.
And this is all mechanical, correct? Everything. about
That's
the-
correct. There is a servo-pneumatic lever, a Barker machine assist that can be activated when playing from the bottom manual. The tuba division is electric action.
Okay.
So that makes that possible. And then a couple of the pedal stops are electric action, those that are borrowed from the tuba division, as well as the big open wood and some things like that. So it's
actually off on the side, so you have to get the action all the way over there.
exactly. And so it's really, it's a feat of engineering in so many ways, because it has the sensitivity of mechanical action, and you can still use solely mechanical. There are actually 2 different sets of couplers. So if I wanted to have the Swell and the Positif coupled to the great, I'm able to do that purely mechanically. But if I want those coupled through the lever, then I have a separate set of couplers I can use for that.
So yeah, very complicated mechanics to make all that work.
Yes.
There's a few. I mean, for the most part, it's a straight mechanical organ, but there's some things that are besides the resonance division. Are just what would be different for a concert hall like this one than your standard church organ?
So it's very interesting because this organ, in a way that's different than kind of an American classic eclectic approach. In a different way, this instrument is able to span the literature of several different countries and centuries by having that Germanic great Hauptwerk kind of division for 17th to 18th century German music. There's also the tuba division, which I mentioned, which has both a royal trumpet at 8 foot, which is essentially a bright tuba, and then the tuba itself, which is 16, 8, and 4.
Okay.
And that's located at the very top of the organ, currently above the acoustical canopy. So those 2 stops are quite interesting, and in an extraordinarily effective swell box. So they really can shut down to almost piano and then bloom up to triple forte.
Well, this is a very busy symphony hall, so we don't have a lot of time today. I want to just hear a few things. Can you play the great principal chorus? Let's just hear that Germanic chorus.
Yes, so
built
the
up.
Germanic chorus, we have... So 16-8-4-2 mixture, and there's this wonderful set of trometons, a nice.
And for those that were wondering, that mixture goes up to 12 ranks at the top.
That's right.
So that's a lot of extra brightness in there.
Kind of Schnitger inspired. Yes.
Oh, let's hear. Can you do the same thing with our positive chorus?
Yes. So the positive, it's unenclosed positive. So. And then 16 with the 8-foot trumpet.
It's a powerful positive. Though,
It
with that
is.
big reed on top. There's
It
a lot
is.
of sound.
And then a couple color reeds, the Crumhorn, which is quite nice. And the Trexler Regal. And a beautiful cornet.
Let's hear the swell box. You said it's very effective. So
Swell
what do we got in
and
the swell?
tuba
Oh,
are both very effective. So we have strings. And various flutes. And then wonderful reed chorus. And then the tuba division, we have the Royal Trumpet, which is and the tuba, and 16-8-4.
Close all of that down to even get that loud.
Yes,
But those
very
are powerful
effective.
reeds, very effective.
Yes.
And then a large pedal division in this organ too to support underneath all of that. So
Large pedal division, which is mostly then utilized in the resonance.
why
as
the resonance
well.
is so big. But show me some of the
Exactly.
pedal. Let's start with the big pedal reeds. Everybody likes to hear those.
So
big
the largest pedal reeds, there you have kind of two versions. You've got either English, where we have the tubas at 16-8 that are brought down, as well as the Royal Trumpet. Then the 32-foot tuba profunda is actually an extension of the 16-foot tuba magna. So we have.
wide as
It gets
shake.
larger and larger the lower you go in the compass. Then also there is the set of French reeds, 16-8-4, all independent, that are quite a bit brighter, very quick speaking, and those are quite large here in the manual.
I want to ask you about a little feature there. I noticed some lights came on when you turned those on. What does that indicate?
Yes, so since most of the instrument is mechanical action, but then we have this borrowing that happens from the pedal division to the resonance. Those lights, if I draw a stop here in the great division, such as the 8-foot trumpet, and then I draw the same stop in the pedal division, That alerts me that that stop has already been drawn
So if you couple,
elsewhere.
it's just going to
Exactly. So once it's coupled, it's no problem. But
it goes off.
without the coupler, it wants you to play in one place or the other.
How about our biggest low pipes of the organ? This big facade has 32 foot.
So the
polished
wonderful
in.
thing is we have 3 full-length 32s in this instrument. The tuba profunda, which we just heard. Then there's a giant Untersatz, the open wood.
Be a test of our microphones, and those are the ones you can actually see if you know where to look, because they're painted to blend in with the wall.
Yes,
And they're actually
inside.
outside the case, so yeah, it's a neat little trick they did to get more space.
Exactly. And that is a unit with the 16-foot contrabass. And then the very softest is the 32-foot Prestant, which is in the facade. And it's such an amazing stop on this instrument and on several other Fisk instruments. Because it's super soft, but it's very pitch definite. And it can be used under the softest stop in the Swell with the box closed, pianissimo dynamic level. But it's also effective up to about kind of mezzo forte combinations. So it's... And one of the remarkable things, unlike a lot of contrabordons, for example, is that you hear the pitch, but it's also very prompt. And when you think about 32 feet of air being set into motion, it's fairly amazing how quickly that speaks. So the opening of Also sprach Zarathustra is perfect with that opening.
Wonderful.
This was something that I realized after playing the instrument for a while, is that, of course, it goes all the way up here to G, and it doubles as the 16-foot principal rank of the great division Hauptwerk, which also then doubles as the bottom octave of the harmonic flute.
Oh.
So it's really incredible how kind of multi-purpose this stop is.
That's an interesting borrowing arrangement
yeah.
for just those 3
Yeah.
stops. But yeah, you get that one. That's fascinating. Yeah. You have a few other registrational aids and things that are a little bit different. First of all, you have something most organs don't need, which is a concert pitch stop.
Yes.
So you can pull that, and that's to help tune the orchestra.
And the interesting thing is that you can pull it for an A and pull a little harder for the added D and F.
Very nice.
The wonderful thing that Fisk realized was that orchestras often tune at one pitch, and then once everyone is warmed up and playing, they play at a slightly higher pitch. So over a period of months, they took measurements when the Dallas Symphony tuned, and then as they actually played, and they found that the tuning pitch should be A441, but then the playing pitch is a little bit higher than that.
So that's not just a concert pitch, it's Dallas Symphony Orchestra.
That's Dallas Symphony Orchestra concert pitch, and it's actually the 8-foot mantra is slightly higher than that pitch accordingly. So,
right. And of course we have our Nachtigall. Every concert organ needs.
Yes, and it needs to be watered right now.
Sorry,
Yes,
cut you off guard there.
yes.
A few other little things. You have some blind or Zimbalstern.
Zimbalstern as well.
Some
yes.
blind combinations there.
Yes.
Tell me about those. What do these?
So
how do you use
those were preset by Fisk. If I put on the blind checks, so we have Je Du, which is very soft foundations, and Fonds. Playing them, and then two Schwarzand.
I see. So they're just variations of regular combinations.
Exactly.
This is what they're labeled for. What now? Can you change those?
And the
if you
organist
want to?
can change
Oh,
those,
okay.
yes.
So,
So if 22 generals aren't enough, then you have 5 more.
Well, and you have lots of memory
combinations.
levels for other
Yes,
organists too.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
And of course, you have lots of. Just point out the ventals for the reeds.
Ventals for the reeds, yes.
Do they work as real ventals, or are they just mechanical?
They do.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have reversibles.
So you can quickly bring on the reeds, but we can draw them, and then the ventil brings the air to the
Exactly.
reeds, even though the key actions are.
One other interesting thing is the mixture on the resonance division is progressive mixture, does not break back. The other interesting thing about it is it can be décomposé. It can be used. It's divided among several stops. So we have the 8-rank plagiau, which is the whole of the. It's a 4-foot pitch, 4-foot being the bottom pitch. But then we have these other ways that this can be parsed out, and it really is all based on this 4-foot octave that can.
So these 4 knobs essentially make up the same as
Exactly,
that one knob.
exactly.
So you can break it out however you.
And you could draw only the bottom 3 unison ranks of the mixture. I think Fisk's reasoning was some conductors might not like hearing the quints so prominently, so those could be drawn. You could draw the 2 and 2/3 as just a portion of that, and then add 2 more quint ranks above that, and then add another quint in unison above that. So that gives a good bit of flexibility in building mixture tone.
A lot of color change you can do in just the principal chorus. So.
Exactly.
So I mentioned earlier that our time was very limited. This is a very busy symphony hall with a busy rehearsal schedule, and we only had a little bit of time. The upper levels of the organ were blocked off, so we were only able to see the bottom levels. To get out to the organ loft, you come from an outside hallway. There's a couple of doors, and we are in the organ. This organ is very narrow. It's not deep at all. That's the back wall. We're here with some pedal pipes around us. We go up these stairs, and the facade is essentially to our left. Lots of power supplies in this organ. It's a DC power supply right there. You'll see multiples of those. Right here is a small screen. Out on the console, the organist has a screen as well that allows him to see the conductor behind him on the stage. So before he goes out, he can use this screen to check that the camera here embedded in the facade is pointed in the exact right direction, and will show him exactly what he needs to see. The organist can also operate the tuning concert pitch pipes from inside, so the organist can tune the orchestra before he goes out. If we continue up these stairs, we see the door to the organ loft. There's one on either side of the console. It's a very tiny little space. This is behind the console now. There's the roller boards taking the action out and up to the other divisions. There's a copy of the key action plans here framed inside the organ. Here's some of the 32-foot pedal stops with pneumatic starters. And we see more of the pedal and resonance pipes right there. If we stay down rather than going up to the loft, we see regulators down here on the bottom level. And for the weights, they've used train rails, sections of train rail that have been cut off and painted, as well as what appear to be granite cutoffs. And then under the console, we have the servo-pneumatic lever. Generically, these are called Barker machines or Barker levers, but this one is specific to Fisk. We have lots of little pneumatics that are connected to the trackers that give the organist some assist in pushing the keys when all of the manuals are coupled together. You can see how as they deflate, they will pull down on the trackers and operate the chests above. And on the other side, we have a very large wedge bellow. So big, in fact, it takes this gigantic stone just to get 4 1/4 inches of wind pressure. We have a mechanical tremolo on there. More DC power supplies. And then the regulator back here for the 32-foot pedal pipes. Those are above our head. They actually speak out into the hall. They're on the sides of the case, but we see the bottoms of them here and the chests that activate them. And more steel and granite for regulator weights. The wedge bellow also has one of these Dombedos style tremolos that we've seen before. and somebody will have to leave a comment and maybe tell me how these things got into the organ. So as I mentioned, we were only able to see the bottom 2 levels of the organ. The upper levels were locked off, and we just didn't really have enough time to crawl around, but we're thankful for the time we got to see this amazing instrument.
Bradley, thank you so much for showing us this wonderful Fisk organ here at the Meyerson Symphony Center in Dallas, where the OHS Convention will be happening in 2019 in July. You'll be playing on Tuesday afternoon here.
That's
in
correct.
the middle of the concert, and we have the Hymn Society is going to be having a hymn festival.
Right.
So if you ever can imagine this room full of people singing, it's going to be something else.
will
So
be
make
wonderful.
plans to attend. There's information down in the description how you can attend the OHS Convention. There's also information about this organ both on the Meyerson website and CB Fisk website. It's a fascinating instrument to learn about. So thank you so much for showing it to us. Remember, for streaming classical organ music 24 hours a day, you can visit our 3 websites, organlive.com, Positively Baroque, and The Organ Experience. I hope you've enjoyed our trip to Dallas this year. I hope to see you at the OHS Convention. You can find more information about our organization at organ.media. I'm Brent Johnson. I'll talk to you next time.